Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. I'm a former commando from the United Kingdom. We've got an update on Ukraine today. So before we get into it, please, as always, like, share and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out when you smash that like button, guys, and you drop a comment and you share these videos. It really does. So thank you if you're doing that. And welcome to the channel if you're brand new here, guys. Yeah, Friday 30th. Quite a few things going on. We're going to get through it today, troops. I'll see you in the comments. Okay, so Ukrainian forces continued counter-offensive operations near Kreminna yesterday, and obviously a little bit of today as well. Now, the Deputy Chief of the Main Operational Director of the Ukrainian General Staff, the Brigadier General Alesky, reported that Ukrainian forces have advanced 2.5 kilometers in the direction of Kreminna over the past week and are conducting offensive operations and actions within those areas and the settlements surrounding this area here, guys. So let's have a look at the area in detail. So in terms of the neighboring settlements that they're talking about, we're effectively looking at these areas here. So you've got the main area of Kreminna, obviously. Then you've got the main road system that's going through. Obviously, is going to be have settlements going across those lines, which is annotated here. So you've got a couple north and south. The main one that I think is on Ukraine's objective is Dubrova. If they can have Dubrova, they pretty much control most of the eastern, the western side of the flank of Kreminna. It's really strategically important because if we look at this area in detail, we can see that Dubrova, although it's a small-ish settlement, it's quite significant because if they can take Dubrova, it allows them to be able to push forward to Kuzmin in this direction here, and you've got a bit of a road system pushing on through, guys. Okay, if we look at the map a little bit further, we can see that that's a direct line straight into Kreminna. So it is massively important that they take these areas first. My suggestion, and you know, it doesn't count for much, but it might count for something, is if they can take this land here, this area here, it'll be something that they could have as an objective to push on through to Kazim and then push on through in that line of direction there. Obviously, if they control that southern road system, it would be beneficial for them to control this northern as well. I don't know why it's taking so long. Obviously, it's hard fighting wars, guys. I'm not stating the obvious, but yeah, I think they need to push for these areas in particular. Once they've got a foothold there, and they've got a foothold there, they can push on through to Kreminna. But that is a major operation. Again, like we've been speaking about with regards to Bakhmut, you can't just overtake these settlements, especially if the enemy is fortified in heavily defended positions there, okay? Now, Hromov, who is the brigadier who we were talking about, stated that information is circulating among officers of the Luhansk People's Republic, the LNR 2nd Army Corps, that a significant part of the 2nd Army Corps will surrender if Ukrainian forces break through the Svato-Kreminna line. So let's have a look at this line that they're talking about. So you obviously got Kreminna, and then what they're talking about, effectively, that line is, let's just have a look in detail. You got Kreminna, yeah. What doesn't get mentioned is this place here, a major part of this, because it's quite a long front line, that. And then you've got Svato. Effectively, what you've got running through all of this is this main road system here. Okay, so they're not affected. That is the line that they're aiming to push through, but the main fighting line, the front line, and it gets adjusted here and there every day, is this fighting line here, fortified with different trenches, different outposts, defendable positions, some easy to take, some difficult to take, you know, varying in different numbers and strengths and different caliber of individuals defending there. So that's the effective line there they're talking about. We'll talk about two lines, guys. We've got the real front line annotated here. Let me get my pen. Okay, the actual front line where the guys is fighting, in some cases hand to hand. Yeah, we've all seen the footage on Telegram and stuff like that. And then we've got the actual notionary line, which is the main objective to be able to push back through. If, you know, Ukraine can take that front line, which we've just annotated there, with enough force, like the original counteroffensive took, what you'll see is them hopefully pushing the Russians back and further back eastward, where that main road is there, okay? That's what I would like to see. So once they've broke the back of that actual front line, if they can push the troops back with enough momentum to the right-hand side, the eastward side of that road, then these areas, Kreminna, that place in the middle, and then Svato, is going to be 3 major points to take, but it's going to be a little bit easier, okay? Now, easier said than done, guys, all right? But that front line it's going to be quite a hard thing to break. We've seen the same type of situation with the Borova and Oskil area, okay? The Oskil Reservoir and river further to the north. Quite a main feature to take. You're thinking, well, what's the feature here? You know, it's rugged terrain. There's built-in trench systems, okay? There's a bit of a river system going up this main road, but that main road in itself is obviously a main feature, all right? It's enabling Russia to be able to resupply their troops. It's enabling Russia to be able to patrol these areas on vehicle without too much dramas, okay? It's difficult, this type of war fighting. As you can see, as we scroll all the way up here, along this side, you've got settlements all over the place, all right? We've got settlements all the way up to Svato, all the way from Kreminna. So it's not going to be easy at all, this. Now, what else have we got to say? So yeah, that's that on the agenda. Now, in terms of 2023, where would we like to go? So in terms of what the Institute of Study of War is saying, let me bring this screen across a little bit, is that Luhansk Oblast head Serhiy Hady stated that Ukrainian forces may actually capture Kreminna by the beginning of 2023. I'm taking that as January, February, March time. A Russian military blogger claimed that 1,500 Ukrainian servicemen are currently trying to break through Russian positions near Kreminna from the direction of Torsk. Let's have a look at this Torsk area then. I don't know if I'm familiar with it. Let's see if it's obvious. So, Kreminna, Torsk. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so that's the line of attack on which they're talking about. So let's have a look at how it looks on the map. This is the area where the Ukrainians are settled in, bunkered in, got a bit of a main feature northward, okay, allowing them a little bit more freedom of movement, not to worry from that direction of attack. They've obviously got to worry about artillery and stuff like that, but Torsk is their area of operations where they can push out through. What I'm looking at here is there's no real major settlements. There is Yampil to the south, which obviously Ukraine holds, but we're looking at this area. This is the one, Dubrova. I think that should be, obviously, their next line of attack. They need to push southward. Once they take that, they've got a direct line towards Kreminna. Again, I'm not trying to make this sound easy, guys. I'm just trying to speak logical about it. You know, they controlled that southern area. We've seen the same tactic used a couple of months ago, all right, going southward of the area and then pushing on through up. So it doesn't make any sense to tackle Kreminna any other way. I certainly wouldn't be going from Torsk to this area or even further northward, okay? I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be pushing straight on through to Kreminna and dispersing the troops out across this open land. Obviously, there's going to be war fighting, trench warfare and everything as this happens. But Kreminna has to be tackled via Dubrova, in my personal opinion. Once they do that, they pretty much shut off that entire southern corridor on this main road system. I'm not too sure what this road system's called. We've got one or two areas. Kuzmin, not too big of an area. Dubrova, not too big an area. I'm guessing the main features that are hindering their movement here, annotated on this map, it's hard to see, is the wood blocks and stuff like that. So yeah, this front line is quite hard. But, you know, with the amount of troops, 1,500 troops to be able to push on through, hopefully we'll see some traction soon. And if we are looking at January, February time to take Kreminna, what you're going to see is something that possibly looks like this. If you've got these areas that they can take, let's just say hypothetically they take these areas, they push on through to Kreminna, they have a slug fest and they take Kreminna, you've then cut off that main supply route for Russia from the south border at the very least. What you have to be worried of is attacks from these neighbouring settlements, and it will happen, okay? You've got to look at the potential for artillery strikes and everything, so Ukraine hasn't just got to overtake it, they've got to defend it heavily as well. So, that being said, you then have an easier ride to push on through to these settlements to the north, okay? Easier than pushing straight on through from this direction, okay? Doesn't mean to say that that can't happen consecutively, okay? You can do that concurrent. You've got two lines of attack then, but Kreminna, I think, is the most important part of this puzzle via these two settlements here, troops. Now, Russian forces continue to conduct limited counterattacks to regain lost positions along this Kreminna line yesterday and today. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian forces repelled Russian assaults northwest of Svator near Stelmakrivka. So, Stelmakrivka, 16 kilometers. We'll look at that in a bit. Where was that? Sorry, troops. Lost my reading. Northwest of Svator, near Strebitla. So that's 16 kilometers northwest of Svator. Looking in a completely different area now. So that's further northward. Where we at? Where we at? There we go. So this area here. Svator's been a tricky one, guys. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, and a Russian military blogger claimed that Russian sabotage and reconnaissance groups are probing Ukrainian positions in the vicinity of Kreminna, 11 kilometers south. So what you've got is Russia knows how important these areas are, right? So in order to hinder the movement of Ukraine forces pushing on through, you know, they're going to be sending out these little fire teams and these little troop size groups of individuals to be able to hinder that movement. But how long can they hinder that movement for? I don't think we're going to be able to see them hindering that movement for too long. You've got to understand the caliber of individual fighting on the front lines for Russia is they've lost all their best men, and anyone who says otherwise is stupid. All right, they lost a lot of their best men, a lot of their highly skilled, trained men at the very beginning of this war, and consecutively each month. You know, the conscripts that they're fighting aren't skilled individuals. They won't be skilled individuals 3, 4, 5 months into the war. It doesn't work like that. You can't really harness them skills from nowhere, all right? And you can't harness those skills from people who also haven't harnessed those skills. Training, effective training, comes from people with experience, handing that information down in a semi-controlled environment, not necessarily war. Okay, so you'll pick up loads of bad habits and everything else. And as far as this place goes, you know, yeah, you can learn a few things on the battlefield. You're going to learn the hard way, but learn the hard way isn't necessarily the best way in this situation. And Russia hasn't got enough time to be able to, you know, to be able to get the credible professional soldiers on the front line to defend these areas and to do an effective job of that. I just don't think they're never going to be able to do that. All right, simple as that, troops. But that's what's happening on eastern Ukraine. There's not too much movement elsewhere. Bakhmut, we've seen a little bit movement north of Bakhmut, which I was talking about before. Russia seems to want to be pushing through the south and northern borders of Bakhmut. It's a big old area. You're going to need battalion levels, battalion strength to be able to push on through these areas, guys. All right, this isn't going to be an easy fix. Certainly with Russia sending in their troops, you know, 8 to 10 men-sized groups of individuals pushing on through. You're not going to do anything with that other than, you know, cause a bit of back and forth, get a casualty here, there, cause a casualty here and there, and that's it. Not really going to amalgamate to anything, really. You know, these areas, places with the size overall of Bakhmut, you need battalions, all right? It's got, like, Fallujah written all over it. This area is... not just at a stalemate. I don't think Russia's going to be able to take Bakhmut, personally. I think they're going to just continue doing what they're doing until they run out of manpower. But we've had a lot of back and forth in the comments, people disagreeing. A lot of people actually agree with that. You know, you can't take over a place like Bakhmut where the enemy is trying to take over heavily defended areas where Ukraine is situated with team sizes of 8, 9, 10 people, and those 8, 9, 10 people aren't actually that skilled or trained. It ain't happening, guys. So just to summarize, short video today, Ukrainian forces, they're closing in on Kreminna. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a tough push, both sides. I think you can see the destruction here in the video, in and around Bakhmut and Kreminna. You know, they're both major players in the war in Ukraine. But just look at that destruction, guys. Real lives being decimated every single day. And hopefully we can get these areas back and into the rightful owners' hands of Ukraine. One of those things, guys, really, really horrible to watch indeed, some of the footage. We're not going to be playing too much of that for you guys because, you know, YouTube doesn't like it. But if you want to see uncensored, ad-free content, then consider joining us on the Patreon. yeah, troops, that's it for today. I haven't really edited this video too much, so there might be a few pauses and stuff like that. I apologise if that's the case, but wherever you are in the world, hopefully you can stay safe. And yeah, look forward to seeing you next time, troops. Oh, by the way, I'm actually going to one of the Misfits next boxing event next month, and my aim is to try and get on one of these Misfits boxing events. So if you want to see me in the boxing event or a boxing event in the future, drop a comment below. What I am going to be doing is putting out footage on a weekly basis. I've got a new training partner, my old training partner actually. I'm going to go back to the boxing gym, get 3 sessions in a week. So there's going to be content orientated around boxing. And yeah, hopefully you can support that, guys, because I want to get on one of these shows next year, 2023. It's happening. Anyway, thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.